Yes, sir. It is I, your boy from Bed-Stuy, and I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in for Don't F Up the Crime Scene, where me, special guests, will tune in and talk about our experiences on crime scenes and how to mess up the case. All right? So sit back and enjoy and holler back at your boy. Holla. What's up, y'all? How's everything going? Episode 16. Episode 16, Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene. And we're about to get into it. A special guest, a friend of mine, colleague, peer, and mentor. He's taught me a lot in the game, especially, researching my LLC and going into my business and my craft. I really appreciate his expertise, what have you. We're going to hype him up. First of all, his name is Marcus Kellum. He is the CEO of Metric One. He's a dynamic speaker. He's been doing this field for about 30 years. There's so many things I can tell you about him. He's like awesome. He's from Brooklyn, a Brooklyn native. So you know, he the man right there. All right. I remember meeting him a few years back when I worked in Georgia, and one of his code enforcement officers was like, "Hey, I got this guy you need to meet. He reminds me of you." I was like, "Of me? Of moi? No way." And then I was like, "Okay." And then he introduced himself, and then I went my spiel. I did my spiel, and he was like, "Hey, where you from?" I'm sorry, from Brooklyn. He's like, "Yo, from Bushwick." I was like, "It was, hey." It was like, "Yo, what's up, dog?" And we've been rocking since. It's been an awesome journey. So let me tell you about Marcus Kellum. Like I said, he's a Brooklyn native, a graduate and certificate recipient of Notre Dame, Mendoza Business School. He has his BA, he has his master's in management and public administrations. He's like freaking awesome. His undergrad was criminal justice. He knows all. He does all. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is just to meet him and understand his world of all types of code enforcement, going in there and property management, housing inspections, just to understand how much all the different certifications, GACE and stuff like that, all these certifications he has, and he actually gives them out, gives you the knowledge that you've never seen before. And our crossover with code enforcement and animal control is one and the same. So with that being said, a special hype up, especially with Brooklyn, that's how we do. Marcus, welcome to Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene. What's up, bruh?
Good morning, brother. Thank you for having me. And I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here with you because you are doing your thing. So it's while you gave me that fantastic intro, man, flowers to you too for being here and doing this. And it is my pleasure to talk to you.
I appreciate that. And a lot of us don't give flowers while we're still alive. And, you had me out in New Mexico, Hobbs, New Mexico. I didn't know what the hell a Hobbs was. I thought Hobbs was like Dwayne Rock Johnson when he was playing Hobbs and in the movie Fast and Furious. I thought we was going out there to drive cars. But, we had a really great time in, Hobbs, New Mexico. Good people. Lorenzo, I think his name was, came and picked me up because, I flew into an area where there was no Ubers. Bruh. And you came through for a brother. I was like, yo, I know you was teaching everything. I was like, yo, there ain't no Ubers. You was like, all right, give me a second. I was like, I mean, you my road dog. You know what I'm saying? We had such a good time, vibe and stuff like that. We had a great time. Tell me, and we're going to talk about your career and, a little upbringing, and we move through some of the things I got on my list to go over questions. How did you get into this code enforcement, regulatory, property management? How did you get into it?
Get into it. Wow, that's a. So as we travel 30 years back, dog. So it is interesting because I was actually an art major in high school. I was a illustrator and a menswear designer. Went to High School of Art and Design in New York, and then went to FIT. So art was actually my thing. And the interesting part about that is, while I was in art school, I worked for the Department of Environmental Protection.
Okay.
And I was in the regulatory enforcement department. And that just, man, I had the time of my life dealing with all the types of inspectors, the water inspectors and the air resource folks and the asbestos folks. And I just knew that regulatory work was where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll be honest with you. It was badges and cars with lights and all that stuff, but it wasn't police. It wasn't that.
Okay.
I never ever wanted to be a police officer.
Okay.
I just like the whole inspection, investigation, and regulatory world. So that just led me down my path from environmental protection to corrections in New York on Rikers Island to police department for a quick little spiel in Georgia, and then immersed into the world of regulatory enforcement.
How do you see the animal control welfare crossing over with code enforcement?
That's a fantastic question. For me, man, it is one and the same, right? We are extensions of the municipalities and the jurisdictions that we work for, and a regulator is a regulator, right? So anybody with that responsibility of going into a place and ensuring that whether it's safe to live there for a person or safe to live there for an animal, it's all the same thing for me. So everyone in this that's under that umbrella of regulatory enforcement, I think we're all brothers and sisters in arms. If you are responsible for ensuring that a minimum standard is in place anywhere you go for any creature or for any person or for anything, then we're all connected.
The thing I really appreciated about having a good relationship, where we used to work down in Georgia, it was no egos. Everybody's ego was checked at the door, and it was like, hey, what you need? Hey, what you need? Even with your predecessor, I used to work with her, stuff like that. And when you came along, it was an easy handoff. It was different gravitas because you came with, to me, no slight, but a different management style that I wasn't used to because I was used to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you made things happen. You was like, it's not a problem. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about. You went in my phone real quick. I was like, let me put this brother in my phone. And I was like, all right, cool. And without dropping, too many names, stuff like that, I know most of your guys, used to work with back in there, and you have promoted and project them to go on to do bigger and better things outside of where we used to work. Your tree is serious. You got people working in Conyers, you got Austin, you know what I'm saying? You have a nice tree. And how does that make you feel to actually, big up and actually, get these people out there doing a great job?
Yeah, it's very gratifying at this point in my career. During the time, it was always about empowering folks and giving them the knowledge they need and giving them opportunities. Because people gave me opportunities to grow, and I knew that it just wasn't a selfish act. It wasn't, if I had this information, I needed to share it. And I tried to find the different platforms sharing it with the teaching and that. But most importantly, for the teams that I led or the teams I was on, it was important for me to give people what they needed in order to grow. And I could literally say, man, it's interesting that you say that. Now, in retrospect, yeah, I mean, across the country, there are people who I've worked with, who I've taught, who I've mentored, who I've worked, and they're now directors and managers and supervisors and administrators. They've all grown in their career, and it's a fantastic feeling to know that I helped to shape, at least gave them a foothold, in their career to get to where they are now. So it's a good feeling.
Like I get the opportunity to teach for the University of Missouri, LETI, LETI, Law Enforcement Training Institute. They've given me the opportunity because I was brought on by Lisa back in the day, and Renee still runs me, and John runs me. I've been to like every state except for about 7 states, teaching. I've been to places, I probably wouldn't have traveled to. Alaska, you know what I'm saying, to go teach. So, with that being said, I was like, this is the bomb. Teaching something I love, I kind of know a little bit, and then you can see the puffs of smoke or the cloud over their head as it's kind of clicking and going off. They're like, oh, and you see the light go off. You're like, oh, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing, you know. Doing this for so long, do you ever get complacent?
Yeah, complacency sets in a lot because while I never feel like I've gotten to the end of it, right? This whole field of regulatory enforcement, there's so many facets, there's so many little niches, and so much. I never felt like I've gotten to the end and just said, you know what, I'm good. But I have felt like a little burned out, you know, at times because, quite frankly, like you said, I mean, we've both you and I have been all over this country, you know, national and international, right?
Mm-hmm.
Preaching the word, preaching the word of regulatory enforcement, code enforcement, animal control, that kind of stuff. And there comes a time when you sit down and you're like, okay, it may be a class that you've taught often, right? But you realize that there's a whole new batch of folks that need that basic information from you. Mm-hmm. You're the one responsible for, to whom much is given, much is required, right? So we have this knowledge base, we have all this experience, and you have the person that's been in the game for 30 years that may need the same message as the person who just started 3 weeks ago. One is reinforcement and one is new information, but who better to give it to them than you? And while it's easy to say, you know what, I'm done with this. You know, I can't teach this anymore. Who wants to hear this same thing? I taught this class 25 times. Everybody needs to hear it. So when you realize that it's not just the same rehash, it's necessary. You pick up and you keep it moving.
You know, I like that. I fell into a little slump far as, ACOing. I'm not the best ACO as I was before because of jurisdiction, stuff like that, limitations and stuff like that. And I fell into a bare minimum. I'm the one who teaches not to fall in the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to lie to you. It's been, me, you talk. It's been a struggle trying to identify, qualify, magnify, and do all these things with a different agency or philosophy and without bringing my baggage, good or bad, you know what I'm saying? So it's been a huge learning curve, good, bad, and indifferent, because I'm appreciative to still work, for one thing. I'm appreciative the people who brought me on, stuff like that. But I ain't gonna lie to you, it is a difficult thing. How do you teach or how do you avoid the bare minimum?
Yeah, so luckily I was blessed with the opportunity to actually go out on my own and do it. And while I've been doing it for years, it was a pastime and it was a passion for me. But over the last 5 years, I've had the opportunity to do it on my own, 100%. And in the private sector, bare minimum is not accepted. You can't be a bare minimum kind of guy in the private sector and expect to eat. Mm-hmm. So while transitioning from public to private was relatively easy for me because I've always sort of had that private mentality. Mm-hmm. You just have to keep it moving. You have to keep it moving, or you will get lost in the shuffle.
I think like I had you and a few others like that help me with the transition. Now I've always taught. I've always done presentations, started off a little bit, and then I learned how to be an instructor and stuff like that because it's a difference. It's a difference. And then to have your own company and you got to grind. You have to grind because you ain't going to eat if you don't grind. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is like I always had the fallback effect to a county municipality job. So it's been kind of easy to step in, step out. I mean, you talked off about this, and I'm getting to the point, and we talked about this, like, fuck 'em, you know what I'm saying? But like you can get these I'm gonna woosah. But but the thing is, doing this for so long, it can be, as a regular job, it can get complacent. As a business or private sector, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm doing my first big event outside, and I'm going up the next next week. You and my cousin, y'all really helped me out. Y'all really, people don't understand, to do your own business and establish it and get credibility. It takes a minute, and even though you have folks around you, it's hard stepping out there and just like this. All right, let's go. For me, because I was like, all right, because I always have a safety spot. You know what I mean? Now I go up there and everything. I do my thing. But I'm going up there to Detroit, and we're gonna put it down. But I had two officers who had me, years ago. I mean, a few of them, and they coming right, and then one of them hosting, and they said, "Yo, can you come up here and give this knowledge?" I'm like, "This, all right." Prices worked out, the venue worked out, and now it's just me to go show up and handle business. How do you, as a dynamic speaker, innovator, how do you approach each presentation or class?
How do I approach each? Okay, so the when I understand what the gig is, right, and this is if I'm working for an organization or working with an organization, they hire me to come and speak. I try to find a little bit about the numbers and find out local laws and local customs and all that other stuff. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But my primary responsibility is to provide them with some information that's practical that they can use when they leave the conference. Right. The moment they walk out the door, there should have been something that I said that they can do immediately.
Right.
Right. If it's a switch in mindset, if it's a just cleaning their vehicle,
right. Right.
If it's whatever I pass on to them, my preparation is to make sure that the material is on point,
right,
and not just theoretical but practical application that they can use immediately. So part of my preparation is making sure that that's the case. Secondly, is getting into the mindset of being in front of a room of either 100, 200 or 20. Little different because the conversational style, the way that it's going to be delivered. So I get all the information I need on what I think it is, and then I compartmentalize it, and then I just leave that 15% open for whatever the hell happens when I get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's important to be in the moment, not be rehearsed, not know your slide word for word, but to have a conversation and establish a rapport with the people so that they understand that what I'm presenting is coming from the heart and not just being read from a slide or anything like that. So I'm not sure if I answered that question.
No. That was good. That was good. No. That was good because my thing is Def by PowerPoint still happens. And we don't do that. We get up, walk around, engage. I'm one of those. You have to read it, you have to hear it, and then after that, I'm going to say, how can we do it? You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure you have the information. Like you said, you go away. One of the best things I get is when I get an email, text, whatever, and it's like, yo, that crime scene photo stuff you showed me, it works. I'm like, damn, who would have figured that out? You know what I mean? I was like, no way, for real now, And I'm like this, I appreciate you got it, and then you using it. Because like taking photos, I only know one way. Now it happens to be the correct way. But, I just say, hey, it doesn't have to be my way. It needs to be the right way. And my way happens to be correct. But, we go on. So let's talk. We want to skip one of them. What is your favorite movie or book?
That's a great question. All right. Well, hands down, I have to say Uh, my favorite movie, most influential movie, movie I saw the most, uh, is The Empire Strikes Back. Um, I mean, I can't. For me not to say that would just be unfair to my entire, you know, elementary school and middle school, elementary school, that whole upbringing, right? So, huge Star Wars fan. Empire Strikes Back, without a doubt. Close second, if I could just throw in a close second.
Go ahead.
Was the movie Seven with Morgan Freeman
Okay.
and Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my favorites for a variety of reasons. And then I'm just going to cheat and say, favorite book I'm going to throw in there is the book that kind of changed my perspective was the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool beans. Cool beans.
Had a really, really significant impact on me.
Cool beans. Cool beans. The movies. I didn't see The Empire Strikes Back, even though I have somewhere around here the March of the Imperial Soldiers. Dun, 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 dun. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like this. Dude, you're a real nerd. You seen my hideaway, my dojo, so I'm a nerd.
Of course.
I'm comic book guys like that. Oh, I got one for you.
Did you say you didn't see The Empire Strikes Back?
No, I saw it. I didn't see you coming with The Empire Strikes Back. Nah, come on, man. Stop playing. What?
Okay.
Your ass stupid. Okay, let's do a caveat to that.
Yep.
Your favorite Marvel or DC character?
Oh, Marvel. And I think we may have even said this recently. Throughout my entire time as a comic book head, the comic book I enjoyed the most was Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, that's right. You did say that. Yeah, you did. You did.
Totally my favorite. But I'll say, and that's a cheat again. But so favorite character would probably be Conan. Believe it or not,
The Barbarian. No way.
Conan the Barbarian. Man.
No way.
I read a lot of, and I used to draw a lot from Conan comics.
Okay.
So, because it had a particular style of pen and ink that I loved.
Right.
And that was my thing. DC. Oh man, DC. Here's something, and again, I'm slightly off with my perspectives. Solomon Grundy was probably.
He don't talk too much, but he do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, no, I was a big fan.
I wouldn't have got that one. I wouldn't have got Solomon.
That's funny. We've never had this conversation. That's incredible.
So mine. So I have a split. My Marvel, because I'm a villain guy. I like villains, but my Marvel hero guys is going to be Black Bolt, Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I love Silver Surfer too. He's just awesome.
So now the way
the movie didn't get as much hype as it should have. That was actually a great movie.
And then Lawrence Fishburne was the voice of Silver Surfer.
Indeed.
And in the recent Doctor Strange Black Bolt, that was garbage. Did you see it? You seen
yes,
it?
I did.
That was garbage. That was trash. But I'm sorry. That scene with Black Bolt, I'm like, dude, you gonna do me like that, dog? I mean, you have Mr. Sonic himself gonna blow it for real. Anyway, but I digress. But as far as DC, I like Deathstroke from Teen Titans, the bad guy.
Deathstroke is ridiculous.
Slade, baby, Slade.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous. And as far as my Marvel villains, I still like Doom. I like Doctor Doom. He's phenomenal, and I got him somewhere around because I have all my collectibles, stuff like that. I like Ultron and all that stuff like that. All right,
you know who else? Just honorable mention, Galactus.
Oh, I got my figurine. My kids bought me all the other little ones to put them together.
Yep.
So he's about this tall, and his joints and everything move, stuff like that. It's gonna be worth a lot of money. Not now, but
we really just geeked out just then.
I know, right?
just to let you know, so now people have a really good.
People going like this. Galactus,
Yeah.
Star Wars. I thought this was about code enforcement, animal control. What the fuck's going on?
It is. It's all related. Trust me. I can make.
You can bridge the gap. You can bridge the gap.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
All right. What was your most interesting case?
Most interesting case.
Uh-huh.
So it was actually a hoarding case, and it was a long case we worked on for a long time. We actually were able to get the person out of the house. The person's family really worked hard on trying to help with it, and it was a long process. And of course, and this is really given the 500,000-foot view. There's like drop. But the amount of effort and work that actually went into this case, from the condemnation to the permits needed to get it back up to place, to the inspections, the decontamination after I went into the place, taking the clothes off in the middle of the street, everything involved in that case was probably, that was the most intense case that I was ever a part of, and thought I saved a life when we found her, because it took 2 hours to get to her in the bedroom screaming.
Wow.
For the inevitable, unfortunate, after the house was totally renovated and ready for her to go back in, and she was in the hospital for a few months. On the day before she was to return to the home, she passed away.
Oh.
So she never got a chance to see her home.
Wow.
Fully renovated. It was. Oh man, it was very emotionally. It had a huge emotional impact on me.
I can imagine.
So
So
yeah, probably one of the most touching cases that I've ever worked on.
Speaking of hoarders, I remember, and we did a lot when we was from, the county we worked in. We did a lot, and you worked in, Sandy Springs. You worked around, but the one we worked at, we had one in Decatur, and it was just outside the city of Decatur, so it fell into the county. And I walked in. It's bad when you push the doorbell and the smells emanates from the doorbell.
From the doorbell.
And you're like this. Is that the ether? Is that the ether coming at me? Like you about to go in the dark world in Thor 2, right? So I'm like, okay. And then, most hoarders anywhere from 56 to like 70 something, educated woman, usually a nurse, school teacher, retired, stuff like that. It's a pattern. So we go in there, and I go in there, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And I didn't understand what I was seeing. Marcus, it was like a cave, right? And outside, the house looked fine, but inside it was like a cave because of the feces in the walls of newspaper and feces that went up. I'd never seen anything like it. I was like this, okay. The cats were on the floor. They was walking on top of the walls of feces, right? And I'm up there like, okay, it's a little different. And then you try to like take it in, no pun intended, because you almost try not to breathe. And then, you're feeling sorry for everything, but you're like, you gotta keep it together, you know what I mean? And I'm going through it, I'm like this. And she had a small little like cove inside the kitchen. And she's like, you want something to eat or drink? And I'm like this. Marcus, I'm like, yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm going to swipe left on that. Because they don't even understand.
Of course.
It's
and the biggest part about it is those cases are, it's not for the one officer themselves. Whatever regulatory capacity you're in, you need help.
Oh.
You better call somebody. You have to get mental health assistance. You have to get potential relocation. You need a team to address those issues, and a lot of new folks don't understand that
at all, because a lot of people have task force now where they meet once a month and to tackle stuff like this, because it takes a team now. You know what I'm saying? And when we were just going, it was on the fly. Was this animal control? Well, is it? Is this elderly abuse, or do we have to call code enforcement? Who's going to take? You know what I'm saying? There's so many different agencies, and then this is one of those you wish you can sit down and brief before you go out, and then stage correctly, and then have everybody on the same board, ICS, command, all that stuff.
Indeed.
Because it's so much. When we did that what was it, 500 birds up there in Briarcliff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we had 2 fire engines to help ventilate. We had the ammonia reader out there. We had staging teams. We had transport teams. We had volunteers come in and work like that. But me, I'm not OCD, a little OCD, but I had to okay, this is what we're going to do. We had a plan before we went out. And I'm a big whiteboard guy now. So I'm like this, okay, this is us. This is what we're going to do. We do a walkthrough, serve the warrant, stuff like that. See if the person's going to cooperate with us. If they're not going to cooperate with us.
Right.
And then see what stages the house is in. Is it safe? All the stuff. Because, how many times you walk into a house because of the urine, so much urine and everything, this overwhelms you. But you might fall through the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then, when you said after you think, okay, you have to take breaks, come out, hose down a little bit, take something in your morning, have pee break. I mean, it's so much going on.
Yeah,
And,
it needs to be a plan. It has to be well executed and it has to be thought out.
And then after that, what do you do with the animals? Do you keep them? You know what I'm saying? It's so much. You know what I'm saying? All right, I got one for you here. Favorite food to eat or cook?
Favorite food. So, again, here's curveball. 26 years vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of crazy. I guess my favorite food is broccoli. I love to cook it. I love to prepare it in different ways, saute it, or it's a bunch of ways you can do it. So I'm sorry, everybody. It's kind of corny, but broccoli happens to be my favorite food at this point.
All right, so let's talk food because I'm a foodie. And I'm gonna bring your ass out. I don't care, right? So with that broccoli being said, now I'm growing my own stuff. I had some kale out. I'm growing all my stuff now, and I was talking to one of my boys I work with, and I'm gonna try to do everything from seed next year. Everything from seed. I'm gonna start inside and go outside. So there's certain things. I'm into peppers. I'm into different types of peppers, and my jalapenos is growing now like that. Small kick, not a big kick. You could eat one just raw. I mean, it's great. All right. So, being a vegetarian, do you mess with eggs at all?
I on occasion, yeah. So I was vegan for about 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
but I let dairy slip back in.
Okay.
Just primarily, it was a nutrition thing.
So, oh no. I went vegan.
Eggs,
I went
eggs, cheese, but I don't drink milk.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but eggs and cheese, absolutely.
Okay. Like you mess with soy?
I do.
Okay. Soy products.
Yes.
Okay. We can talk. So I was a vegan for about 2 years. I was in Missouri, and I got induced to the dark side of veganism by these 2 super hot investigators, right? Smoking hot, right? And it was like, well, come on, and it was whipped cream vodka involved. Okay, enough said. All right. Okay, I'm just saying. The next morning, I woke up a vegan. I'm just saying. Okay.
Wow, this is a great podcast.
Hey, it is what it is, bro. So, and then I went on my veganism trip for a long time, and a lot of people on Facebook actually knew when I went vegan because it was traumatic.
Right.
I lost a lot of weight, but my health was a little different because I needed different types of protein. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Absolutely.
And then I fell off the bandwagon a few years ago, and I eat a little bit of everything in moderation. You know what I'm saying? Not too much. I try to make sure it's fresh and stuff like that. And I'm trying to do a lot more water, all that stuff like that. Try to cleanse and intermittent fasting. We talked about that. And because, as a matter of fact, I got a podcast episode called Fit for Duty. I believe you need to be fit to go out there and do your duty.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Because a lot of times we the number one killer of law enforcement officers in most capacity is actually accidents, driving to the call or driving from the call. And after that, it's heart attacks. A lot of us who do enforcement type of work, we're not in the best shape after academy or when you start working there. You just you kind of lose it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and especially for the quasi law enforcement
right,
folk.
right.
where there's no real requirement
Right.
to maintain or to to pass the physical every year and to do that stuff. A lot of the quasi law enforcement regulatory folks, some people go that way because of that, because
Right.
they don't have the capacity to pass, the physical requirements for law enforcement.
Right. Right.
Quasi law enforcement. But no, it needs to be discussed, and it also needs to be something that we're aware of. I agree 100%.
Some people get on me like, for the most part, I never had too many negative comments about, my fit for duty, because I'm like, you want to live as long as possible. And the way to do that is diet and then some type of training, something, walking. I'm a walker, okay? I mess with kettlebell and my row machine. I look at my row machine most of the time and it looks back at me like this, bro, when you get your ass over here, I'm like this, no.
Right.
Bro, I was on that row machine one time. We talking, Marcus. I just knew, because I put the a towel over the digits so I can't see the time, right? So I'm up there, full sweat, son. Getting it in. I'm like, da-da-da-da. I look down, 7 minutes. I'm drenched.
Right.
I'm like, 7 minutes? 7 minutes? This ain't no 6 minutes of funk, all my junk, on tree. You know what I'm saying? I'm up there like, I'm working here, bruh. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Well, let me if I may.
Go ahead.
So my son and I have started an exercise regimen. We're back in the gym and everything, and he's at the point in his life when he's trying to cut himself up and get to a point where he's attracted to the ladies, right? So I don't care anymore. I'm done, right? But anyway, I'm there for moral support mostly, but I cardio and I do some lifting. Anyway,
Okay.
we have been working on a project in the rear of our property. We created a rock garden around the enclosed patio.
Okay.
And I had to get literally a ton of rocks delivered to the house. These sea pebbles delivered to the house, and each bag is 30 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So we had to do about 150 square feet of laying down rocks. And when I tell you it doesn't work, a workout in the gym is nothing compared to trying to lay down almost 50 cubic yards of 100 square feet of those goddamn 30-pound bags of rocks. I think the sweat equity that we put into this job, I think I should cancel I should just go into landscaping. Let me just put it that way. Because I have to hats off to the men and women in the landscaping. Jesus Christ, that was physically exerting. So you can find it anywhere, right? You don't have to necessarily get on a treadmill or get on anything. If you just do a landscaping project in the rear of your property, you'd be fit for duty.
I like that segue. Bro, my house in Georgia, just years ago, me and my ex, we put in our own sod. So we had to till it up. We had to bring dirt in and till it up. That's the job. Just till up all this dirt, and then get it smoothed out like that and till it up, put gypsum in and stuff like that, all that stuff, right? And then you order 5 pallets of sod, and not squares but the rolls, right?
Right.
And each roll might be like 25 pounds, right? You don't know, because it vary. It might be 15, whatever like that. I'm like, okay, dude, when I tell you, I don't think my knees were good for about at least a year. And then this thing called on your rotator cuff, I don't know if you have problems yet, son. Like when I lift up like this hurts right here for me, just going up and down like that. And one of my boys says it's a lot of stretching and rubber band resistance. They say that's the way to go. I do kettlebells, and I'm doing a little lifting here and there, and I do my walking. All right, I got a question for you. Have you ever, because it's called Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene, have you ever fucked up a case?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the only reason why I jumped out and said that, I don't do it often, right? But I talk about it in class because I don't want anybody to ever do it, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. It was a it was a use of force in jail. Use of force in jail, and and this is going back, right? Because the investigations we used to use Polaroids, and I'm dating myself by saying that, right? But anyway, so we had Polaroids, and we had just transitioned to a digital camera. Just transitioned to digital camera. Dot matrix printers, the big digital camera that you had to actually put a floppy disk in. Okay, this is the digital camera I'm talking about. I was the advocate for moving it forward. I kept saying, "Hey, we got to order digital cameras. We have to move this into the
future." I got you.
All right, got to do it. No protocol for how to. I mean, we had of course SOP on how to, once you take the Polaroid, you try to write what you can on the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Put it in the file and evidence, right? Federal rules of evidence. Collect how what do you need to do? Train of custody, chain of custody, all that stuff, right? So my director of field operations, who was my mentor, and he's passed away since. His name's Carl Niles. He was very gracious in letting me use the digital camera for that investigation. I was the first one. I was pushing for it. We bought it. It was damn near $2,000, right? I go out, take all the pictures. Had a whole pocket full of floppy disks. I had the pictures of the inmate, the pictures of the officer, pictures of everything I needed. Open and shut case, right? Challenged to print the pictures because the technology just wasn't really there, right? And again, dot matrix printer, very rudimentary software to try to capture the image and try to manipulate the image in terms of cropping and stuff. And the software that we had that came with the camera allowed you to lighten the picture and just kind of like small editing. And I edited the picture and printed it and submitted it as evidence. And the major case got kicked out because I altered the evidence.
Yep.
And this is New York City Department of Correction versus Legal Aid Society kind of case. This is Honorable Rudy Giuliani, Marcus Kellum on the same lawsuit. You understand what I'm saying? This is not a small. This is New York City getting sued for money. And anyway, as a result of me not necessarily being knowledgeable in what I needed to do, while I thought I knew what I had to do. There were things that I didn't know that I assumed I did because I was, thriving off of ego. I was the man, and I was going to win this new case that we have this new technology that I made everybody buy, and wound up losing the case.
I appreciate you being humble enough to say ego. A lot of us in this field, especially when you reach a certain height or what they say position, we be feeling ourselves, right? And sometimes we can't see us feeling ourselves. That's why I'll holler at you or holler at somebody. Say, "Yo, am I tripping? Hold on, am I in my feelings about something?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that case, and this is an investigator and me, you will find if you had duplicated all your pictures. So hypothetically, if you took your first series of shots and put them in a folder, we know that would be now a folder, and then your next shot, so like that, you augment it like that, you've been fine because the first series, you know what I'm saying, the first series was still in place, and then you can crop, put it like that, and we talking. I appreciate that story because it'll give other people an understanding like we all fuck up.
Yep.
Know better, do better, and then keep doing better. Stay in the line, stay in your lanes, and follow your SOPs. Bendable, not breakable, and keep it moving. Know what I mean? Because when I go out, I teach photo who, photo what, or one of my, photo, whatever. We talk about cameras. Now, I can break down a camera, or I can teach you how to shoot. When I'm out there, I want to teach you how to shoot. I want you to learn your camera. I want you to know your camera. I want you to go from automatic to manual. Know what I mean? or manual automatic, whichever one you want. Right. The only thing is, once you go one way, you can't go back. I try to tell people, because the defense
I
attorney
agree
get you.
with that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, no. As you and I apologize for it, but as you were talking about it, what I found is where I am right now is more theory
Mm-hmm.
than anything else in my teaching. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten away from walk in, look to the left, look to the right. Let's talk about what happened before you got out the car, before you even went onto the property.
Mm-hmm.
What is your mental state? What happened at the office that may not equip you in a way that when you enter onto the property, you're not functioning properly.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about? So my a lot of my classes now are these soft skills, are these get to know yourself, are these types of classes that
Mm-hmm.
that I think have been missing even in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Perspective. You can do There was a real brief story I'd like to just tell you
Whatever.
that I thought helped me put some things in perspective for me. The story goes on that these conquerors came to this village, and they captured all the able-bodied men and the young boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they put them in the middle of a courtyard because they wanted to train them to be fighters, right? So they had a couple people who were very well off in this community, and one of the guys said, "Hey, listen, I've worked my entire life, and I have all of this money, and I want to give all my money to making sure that these young boys that you've captured are eating properly."
Mm-hmm.
So it was his life's achievement to get to the point where he can give all his money to make sure that these folks ate.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
This other guy heard the story and said, "You know what? I've been very successful also, and I have access to clothes. So I'm going to give my entire life fortune to making sure these young boys have clothes so they're not cold."
Mm-hmm.
Right? The third guy heard it. He said, "You know what? I understand. I want to do that, and I own land where there's water deposits. I want to make sure I'm going to give my entire life fortune to these boys who were captured to make sure they have clean water." And the fourth dude heard that, and he used his position to go and talk to the conquerors. And he said, "Can I just have access to the boys? I want to go talk to them." And he went, got the keys, opened the gate, and freed them. So while all three of the other folks felt that they accomplished a certain goal from their perspective to give their life's earnings and their life's message to trying to help, in their perspective, it was right.
Mm-hmm.
They did something big.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely, to make sure they had food, to make sure they had water, to make sure they had clothing. But the perspective of the fourth person was higher level thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Why they even captured. So sometimes we don't have to necessarily say point A, point B, point C. This is what I have to do. I have to get in. I have to write a notice. I have to make sure that they're in compliance. I have to take the picture. You need to think, why are we even here?
Here. Mm. Mm.
And
Speak.
that really
Speak.
helped me. And I'm talking 3 weeks ago. I heard this story. And it kind of brought it all together for me. And I was like, wow, we have to step back sometimes. And while every perspective is correct, to make sure you write the notice properly, to make sure you take the picture properly, to make sure you're safe when you walk in there, you really need to think, why is this even happening?
The one thing I'll piggyback with the knowledge that we know now, going on call is so different than when sometimes we're actively doing it, or when we're young doing it, stuff like that. All the stuff that you have now, it's like I still go on ride-alongs, all right? 'Cause, that's what I do. So I might go teach Thursday, Friday, but I get there early, like a Tuesday. Like, matter of fact, it's going to happen next week. Where either I wait for my homies to come from New York and we hang out in Detroit, or do I have a chance to do a ride along for 3 or 4 hours and see how they do it. Know what I mean?
Right.
And it's nothing like getting in a vehicle, ACO, ACI, code enforcement, and riding with somebody. Like in Hobbs, they did everything. They did everything. You know what I'm saying? Lorenzo and them. To go there and go like this, okay, let me see how you guys do it. And gain that. Because I'm not going to lie to you. It's like you said 3 weeks ago. It's all the stuff is feeding me to go like this. Okay. It makes me a better instructor, a better teacher, because I'm still learning. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of us think we know everything. You know what I'm saying? And we run into it like, you've been doing this for so long, and it's like this, and you've been at different aspects in different environments, in different positions. You was a Rikers Island like that, because that right there, that's a different world. People don't understand. Working in confines of a jail mentality, you have to be on guard on a lot of things. At the same time, it's respects and stuff like that. But then you go into Sandy Springs, or you go into Colorado, you doing stuff like that, and you taking everything. And then we worked the same county. You brought all of that. That's why they was like, this motherfucker, I'm gonna hype you up. They was like, this motherfucker's a bomb. Who is this motherfucker right here? And I think they knew. I think they was like, this motherfucker, he take it over. And I always congratulate. I always I'm not a hater. I'm just not a hater. I'm like this. I'm not a Brooklyn guy like this. Oh, that's what's up. All right. Can you show me a little bit? I ain't trying to take your shine, bro. Can you show me a little bit? And I'm very supportive of all my dude and dudettes. All my dude and dudettes know they can call me, email me, text me, and I will get back with them within a few hours or at least 2 days. Fact. And then I'm out there like, I say, yo, what's up? And they're like this, yo, I got this. I need this. Am I doing this? What's up? I'm like this. All right. Okay. First of all, fuck you talking about? And then we break it down, because I rather you take your time and see it. And I need you to articulate and paint the picture to me so I can understand what you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of our frontline officers sometimes do not know how to paint the picture to their supervisors, and the supervisors cannot make the best decision because they're not sure. You know what I'm saying? And then every fucking body gets in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
I do. One of the things that I heard that I thought was funny, someone said, once you become a supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
From the moment you're no longer an officer, once you become a supervisor, manager, or director, your response is always write them a citation. And I thought that was funny until I was at the point where I was like, what's going on out there? Go ahead and go write some citations. But it's so true, because the perspective and where you stand on an issue depends on where you sit.
Very good. I like that. I like that.
So you can have a whole different perspective. But if you're the supervisor and somebody's saying, hey, I need somebody to go do something about that, you're like, hey, go cite them. So we could say we cited them and keep it moving.
I tell you like this, right? So I was a muscle. I was a muscle where we used to work, okay? And I was the one they called in to resolve the problem.
Right.
Resolve, okay? They say, 911 say, yo, Hearst, go do this. I'm like this, 10-4. And it's like, let it be said, so let it be done. I come out there like this, Lord Vader, son, Sith Lord to the fullest. Now that I'm looking back, I could have handled things a little different. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. I lit somebody up, and for all my dude and dudettes, this is Marcus Kellum. We talking. He's, extraordinary at Metric 1. If you need any kind of regulatory, code enforcement, building inspections, maintenance, property management like that, he is the person to go to. He's a guru. He put me on with code enforcement, and his crew, he has a crew. And you're going to plug yourself later, but, he has a crew. The big thing is here. Learn to trust folks and get folks in your circle who are dependable, knowledgeable, and the whole nine. Me I had that. I had a boss, and I said, Mr. B, and he allowed me to become what I was. And then I had my major who came in after he left. She's like, "Go handle your business." I'm like this, "Oh, for real?" And it gave me, the gravitas to like, okay. But the thing is, and this, I want to ask you, have you ever got the big head and fell off the horse and had to get back on?
Yeah, yeah. A part of leadership, I equate leadership to learning to ride a bike.
Okay.
You're in a leadership role, and it's and the more time you put in, the better you become at it, right?
Okay.
But when you learn to ride a bike, you fall down a bunch of times, scrape your leg, scrape your knee, get up, get back on the bike, and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think we've all had. Well, I don't want to say we've all. I'm talking about myself. Yes, I've had times where my judgment wasn't what it should have been, considering the responsibility I had.
True that. True that.
And I learned from what could have been a lot better. Like, luckily, knock on wood, it was nothing major, right? But the outcome would probably have been better had I been a little bit more crafty in my approach and my response to it.
I run into the thing of I ain't gonna lie to you, bare minimalist, where it sounds hypocritical that I can go teach something and not live it. So meaning we talking,
Absolutely.
and for you guys who tune in to Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene, for you guys who tune in, y'all know I'm real. Y'all know I got flaws. Y'all, if you see me in person and y'all been in my classes, we have a great time, but you end up with one of the realest presentations in class you ever had. That's why you go like this. Who's that motherfucker? And when he's coming back, right?
Yeah.
And the appreciation I got, and me and you talked about it. I went to Chicago one time, right? And this is no disrespect. And the thing, me and you work together. What gets me is I've always been grand opening, grand closing, aka Jay-Z. Had to drop that, but I've never been in the middle. Have you ever been in a lineup where you're second and somebody's going to close after you? You know what I'm saying? You're not a headliner, right? AKA you're not staying in the back, and you're not first, and you're second. How do you handle being second? Let's talk.
So you said that, and two things came to mind.
Go ahead.
One being second in command, right? And two, being second on stage. Right? So number one, I'm a boss, right? So it's difficult for me, this is as real as possible.
Real.
It's difficult for me to yield to someone else because I think I'm just doper than that person. I'm going in there thinking I'm doper than everybody anyway, right? But not in a negative way, right? In a very humble way, because I'm bringing a level of experience and a level of education and a level of just everything that's very uncommon, right? Very dynamic. It's very different. So I believe that, and I'm there for a reason wherever I am, right? So I look at it from a training perspective. And this is where I fall back on my love of comedy, stand-up comedy.
We talk, and I watched it. I watched the whole thing. I watched it. We talked. I watched it. It was good stuff. Good stuff. Even though I ain't no Kevin Hart guy. I'm a hater, but good shit, bro. Good shit. Good shit.
Good. So you understand why I want
good shit. Good shit. Good shit, homie.
Yeah, my love of stand-up comedy tells me it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you placed on the bill. You don't always have to close. Right? You don't always have to close. You just always have to kill.
I like that.
I don't want to follow me. So you probably should let me close. That's all I'm saying. Right? You don't want to follow me because nobody's going to be into your class because they're still getting over the shit that they just heard. So, all I want to do is deliver. And that's if I'm opening, I'm going to deliver. If I'm closing, I'm going to deliver. If I'm in the middle, I'm going to deliver. I just feel sorry for you behind me. That's all.
I went to I was in Bloomington. I went to Prairie States about 2-3 years ago. I just went there a little while ago, killed. But a few years ago, I was really like, I was on my Deem, son. I was coming. You were there. I was Rakim 50 Cent. Know what I mean? But it was one of those where I destroyed it, right? And then they actually had a person going after me, and I met him before. I just didn't know he was going after me.
Right.
And they went for a break and they have to come back in class and all that nonsense, right? I said, okay. So he came up to me and everything, older guy from Jersey. He's like, that's gonna be hard to follow.
Right.
I said, I ain't mean it that way. He's like, no. That's gonna be hard to follow, right? And I was like, I remember Lisa from LATI. She brought me, Greg, and Shelly. Shelly's with I think she's still with Illinois Agriculture up there, right? And we did a 3-day tour of 2 spots in Chicago and 1 spot in Springfield, Illinois. Cold, right? And me and Greg, we had some tequila the night before. We were having a good time, and we having a great time like that, right? We didn't know the order, right? So I'm usually last, right? But for whatever reason, I got put second, right? And Greg pulled me to the side. He's like, yo, I'm going to follow you, so don't trip, right? And I'm like this, Marcus, I was like this. No, we good. But
Oh yeah, and it was truthful. You were like, yo, we're good. You done this stuff.
and Greg brings this up all the time because I make him buy me lunch or dinner most of the time, right? And I think he's in the drop because after he retired, he's in the drop in Davie County. He's down in Florida, Fort Lauderdale area. Great detective, right? So he had to follow me, right? So Shelly went up there, did her things like that. They had little breaks like that. So I'm in the back, I put my headphones on. I'm up there jamming. I'm like this, right? I don't know why I was playing some T.I. I was like, hey, I'm getting to it, right? Marcus. And then Lisa, somebody brought me out. They're like, all right? So I had, it was Chicago. It was the Chicago police station across the street from the White Sox, 35th and Jackson, if I'm correct. It's huge, right? It's like a mini stadium, right? So it's about 320, something like that. So it's all uniformed, and then it's ununiformed, and then it's like whatever like that, right? So I have all these people in front, and I'm feeling it because the bigger the crowd, you Marcus, you start feeling it, right? So I'm like this, right? Hey, I'm rocking back. I'm like, hey, they about to get this, right? Greg sees me and go like this. I thought we talked about this.
Fear.
He's like, what you doing? I'm like this. Nah, I'm just getting in the gear. He's like this. No, I've seen this before.
Right.
You about to.
What happens after this?
You know what I'm saying, right? So Marcus, Mr. Kellum, I'll go out there like this, right? And I'm standing on stage. It's a nice days, right? And everybody's over here like that. I'm like this. I'm up there high. I'm already gone, right? Marcus, I said, yo, y'all look like the 300 in this motherfucker. And it was like this, right? And my boss like this, oh, shit, what's about to happen, right? I was like, are y'all Spartans?
Right.
Are y'all Spartans? I said, I hit my chest one time. One brother got up in uniform, said, Sparta. And they all got up. Started, Sparta, right? And I'm like this. And Greg looked at me because I didn't mean to look at him, right? This motherfucker, Marcus, you talking about, he looked at me like, I hate you. I hate your kids. I hate your dog. I hate you so much right now, right? He was like, Kellis, I hate you. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, Marcus, I had so much energy. I took my lesson plan because I work off the PowerPoint. I don't really look at my hands, right? I took my lesson plan and I threw it in and made it rain, right? I just made it rain. It cascaded, right? And these motherfuckers, so imagine it. Oh my God. Marcus. So imagine You in Caesar's Coliseum, you going crazy, and you get the roses and everything flying down, coming down like that.
Right.
These cops
That's
went
funny. That's
ape, right? So I'm up there like this. I'm like this. I'm like, all right, this is my first 15 minutes. I didn't even say who I was, bro.
funny.
I didn't even say
That's
who I
funny.
was, bro. So then I go up there, I'm like this. I'm like this. I said, y'all good? Everybody, I was going crazy, right? So I'm like this, right? So then now I have to read off the PowerPoint and the teleprompter, and I'm like this. I kill it, and then we go to lunch. So then he's coming on after lunch. Then my dumb ass, right? I go down, right? And I meet everybody at the door as they're going out. They high-fiving me. We doing new handshakes. And they just bumping me. We doing elbows. Boom, boom, boom. They like this. Yo. They're passing out cards. Yo. Da. I'm like this. All right, cool. You know, Mark, I don't know what's going on, right? Marcus. Greg's looking at me like this.
Yeah, did you just do that?
You know, he's looking at me like this. He's like this. He said, I love you like a brother, but are you out your mind, right? And then we had to go eat lunch together at Subway's. And the whole time he's looking at me like this. I hate you. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
hate. Yeah, just hate.
But you know, that's my boy.
With love. Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
So best place to visit or vacation.
Maui.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah. Oh, because there's no other place like it from my perspective. At some other point in time, at some other lifetime, I was Polynesian running around with a full arm tattoo and a surfboard somewhere. I don't know. I love Maui.
Your ass was Troy Polamalu, whatever his name is.
Absolutely. I love Maui. I love it.
Okay. How many times you been?
3 times.
Okay. Yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when you go to Hawaii, they're like, "Has anybody ever been here before?" You raise your hand. Anybody been here more than 2 times? You raise your hand. They go, "That's the rich people, everybody."
Yeah.
You know, because they even know it's expensive. But I love it. Family loves it. If everything works out the right way, mahalo.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up, homie. I told you already ready to visit because I'm taking my tour to Ecuador. We're going to Quito.
Absolutely.
Going to Quito, and then now I'm looking at Costa Rica and Nicaragua.
Absolutely.
So I'm brushing up on my Spanish big time now. Okay, are you a great team player?
Yes, because you know what? I'll fill in. I can get done what needs to get done. So I would say I am a great team player because my desire to make it right and to win is such that I'd be willing to get in there and do what I have to get, even though that may not be my position. From a good way, I'll be willing to help anybody to get the job done. So,
do you gain respect off of that when they see the boss coming down there and getting in?
I've heard it, and it was never because I wanted to prove anything to anybody because it doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard that. I've heard one of my officers say one time. He said, "When I saw you out there pulling signs, I said, well, I guess I need to get out here and do that better." Mm-hmm. So it was just one day I didn't even know he saw me. Mm-hmm. I was in the car. I was going somewhere, and there was some signs on the pole. I pulled over, got out, put my gloves on, pulled the signs down, put it in the back of the car, kept it moving. He saw it, and he was like, "Is that the director pulling signs?" So when he asks us to pull signs, why am I tripping? So yeah, it's almost leading by example.
We had an a lieutenant at that time. We became captain. I don't think he'd be upset. I won't say his name,
Yeah,
but he was the only uniformed person I seen. A white shirt, who had a backup uniform just in case they get dirty when they have to go out there and help somebody.
Yep.
And me and him got into it multiple times, but I gained so much respect. And then we cool to this day. And he needed a favor at 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning on call. I had to go in a house that was flooding. with no backup. They had only 6 units, because you know how it is in the county now. They short.
Oh, crazy short.
You know what I'm saying? So my son tells me about it. Everybody's leaving. No disrespect. No disrespect. But everybody's leaving the county. So I had to go over there and clear the house myself and then find a white dog sitting under a white commode. So and there's no electricity in the house. So I'm going in there with a flashlight, which a flashlight is going to make everything whitewash. So I'm looking for something white in a white room next to a white toilet. You're not going to see it, right? So, bro, I went through the whole house while it's flooding. Okay, I'm up there, nothing. And I had to go in there and clear the house by myself, which is not cool. You always want to have somebody on on your 6, on your 9. And I'm like this, I'm like, okay, cool. I went through the whole house and everything. And then I walked by and I saw something move. And it was a dog. I missed the dog twice. The dog actually never moved. But this time it kind of like moved. I saw its eye. It was I was like, I got it. Bruh. So I snatched up Fluffy real quick. And the dog was happy. He's like, just, hey, human.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you,
Right.
And I got him out. But and then just doing the favor, because he's like, hey, we would clear the house, we would do like that. I got nobody for you. Can you handle it? I'm like, yeah, I got you. Whatever, like that. The security guard who was managing the property, he was like this. You good? He was like, bye. I'm gonna just roll out and speak to me about the safety issues with regulatory code enforcement, like that. Because I've seen over the years, a lot of code enforcement or administrators getting killed when they go to people's homes. I've seen this last 2-3 years. What's going on?
I think collectively, and I'd say over the last 2 years, there's been an emphasis on officer safety because of the rise in injuries on the job. And I just think for a long time, it was never really even discussed. It was, you were given a book and a set of keys and a pat on the back and like go out there and enforce the code. And there was never any real structured training, never any kind of conversation about awareness, situational awareness, and all of that stuff. Or even dealing with difficult people. And so that stuff didn't exist until recently. There's a handful of trainers in the code enforcement genre, right? In our regulatory code enforcement segment, that's giving people what they need, equipping them with what they need, right? And there's some organizations that have dedicated themselves to trying to provide officer safety and such, and the whole mission at the end of the day is for you to go to work and come home safe,
Right.
So there is now that there's a spotlight on it, and recently over the last couple of years, a couple of code enforcement officers got killed in the line of duty.
Yep.
So the idea is SOPs. We have to have SOPs. There has to be structured training on it. You know this. We've talked about this. You've participated in some of the things that we've done in terms of officer safety and training and such. We just have to we have to understand that, see, the regulatory discipline has never really been structured. It's just been everything that the police didn't want to do. We picked up, right? It's all the things that the police don't want to do.
Right.
So there was really no time, effort, or money even put towards developing any kind of training surrounding that kind of stuff until recently. So, there's the debate whether or not code enforcement officers should carry weapons. Should they wear vests? Should they have tasers? Should they have batons? All of this kind of thing, all this conversation stems from. I asked the question again: have we had the conversation about situational awareness? Have we had the conversation about safety? Before you give me a vest, can you tell me what potential things can happen? How about we run down that list so I'm at least aware of it, as opposed to just having a vest and not knowing to look for the urine-soaked floor to fall to. You understand what I'm saying? Just to kind of pull the whole thing together for all of us. What is...
You know,
What are we really doing?
the one thing, the county we worked at, we were under the police. They're not now; they're separate. I enjoyed the luxury of being under the police because as for certain training was okay, it's mandatory, it was across the board, and then it allowed us to go and do in service or go to the academy and teach them and act stuff like that. So it was a building block, because I think a lot of times, and I don't know in code enforcement, you tell me, in animal control, we looked at as dog catchers or stepchildren. You know what I'm saying? Wannabes, wannabe cops, wannabe security, whatever like that.
It's
And
all the same.
and we try to tell them like, hey, we stay in our lane, but there's certain things that's it goes back and forth. We have to know about, like officer awareness, officer safety, position at the door, where the door, how you open the door, move off the fatal funnel, or all that good stuff. But so you go outside a metro, a metropolitan, it gets real country in a hurry. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yes, absolutely.
We say an hour in any direction out of Atlanta, your ass in another time zone. I went down south, not out of somewhere way down next to Savannah. Dude, I thought I was Django because I had a white truck. Okay, I thought Marcus,
Jesus.
but you couldn't tell me I was Django because there was like this. Mama, look,
Yeah.
there's a black person driving a white truck, and I'm like,
Right.
I was like this. I was like, and Marcus, I was like, okay. And when you get out, there's like this. How you doing, sir? I'm like, what's up? They're like this. Mommy, he spoke. I'm like, I'm trying to understand the dynamics. Have you been to places that's so poor that I've been to West Virginia, and West Virginia, extremely beautiful, landscapes, stuff like that. Mississippi, a little different. But I've been to some states that's so poor that I'm like the living conditions. You're there for I'm there for animals. You're there for matter of fact, how do you deal with poverty? How do you deal with the level of poverty to try to help this person, but they don't even know how bad it is?
Right. Right. That's very good. That's a very good question. There are times when. So true story. True story. I went in. I was asked to come and do some training in a particular state. I'll just leave that like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Particular state, and we were trying to get the schedule together for doing the training for the people,
Mm-hmm.
and we were throwing around dates and times, and I said, well, I can do it in 3 hours, and they said, well, how many people can you do in a room? And I gave them all the dynamics, and one of the guys said, well, we're going to have to make sure that there's some supervisors in the room also. I was like, oh, okay, so you want them to have the training? They said, no, it's to help some of the frontline folks. And I said, what do you mean? He was like, well, they're going to need somebody at the table helping them. And I was like, no, I got it. I can handle a group. I'm like, come on. And they were like, no, some of them can't read.
Mm-hmm.
And it had never occurred to me
Mm-hmm.
that there would be people in positions like that didn't have some basic stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of my lessons, right? Where you have to know your crowd, know where you are, know what you're doing. So I can't go into some places, even if it's a small city, to train a small city or a state organization, and talk about having body cameras and talking about having all this technology and all this really cool stuff when they're in a car with 400,000 miles on it, or driving their own car, no uniforms, and a piece of paper and a pencil, and they're out there drawing the damn violation because they don't have a camera. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm talking way above their head if I'm talking about, when you come back, when you use your laptop, or when you electronically do, dude, we have to talk basics, right? There's no difference between somebody who's economically challenged that's white or economically challenged that's black, right? Economically challenged is economically challenged, and the whole idea behind it is there's a methodology behind doing enforcement in communities, and again across the country wherever you go, right? Pretty much the south side of the city is the side that requires the most work, right? And there are people that just don't have the money to do it. So you deal with somebody who, while you enforce the code, you have to enforce it legally, ethically, and morally, which is the title of my class that's coming up on August 26th. If you want to, I'll plug it at the end. But anyway, legally, ethically, and morally, right? And you have to do it according to the book. But there are ways that you deal with people who have a willingness to comply but don't have the means to comply, versus somebody that has a willingness to comply and the means to comply. There's different ways to deal with them.
You know, right? I like how you said that. I've learned, because I don't wear the cloak of the Sith Lord anymore. I've learned to really work with people, because don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a big compliance guy. I'm like, hey, you need 2 weeks, not a problem. If you need more than 2 weeks, you need to holler at me. Don't make me drive out here.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because, and then it's like now, I don't get in my feelings about almost Marcus, nothing. It's very difficult for me to get upset, get a rise out of me. You would have to really, well, if you approach me, there's a problem. But other than that, Marcus, there's almost nothing you can say to me, say about me, say about my family. I'm like this. I'm like, whatever. Because it's...
You're like, all right.
And I'm like, whatever. Now, back when?
Different story.
Right. But now I'm like this, okay, I'm kindly, gentle, Hurst, right? And I'm all about is, how do we resolve the problem? What is the best way we can do to I win, you win, I win, we win? Because it's all about somebody made a complaint. Okay, there's a violation or infraction. How do we work this out?
Right.
I'm not trying to take your money. First of all, I'm not trying to take you to court. I'm not trying to lace you up and light you up. Caught me a few years ago, I make it rain on you. But other than that, you do your best now to like, okay, how can you come in compliance within a reasonable time? Does that make sense?
It is the philosophy to get you, and you have to understand, depending on the people in your class, folks who are new to it, folks who are thriving to become to move up in the field, folks who are near retirement. Everybody has a different perspective.
True that.
And so when you're talking about, I used to talk about, I was one to give people citation therapy. If you couldn't find it in your heart to comply, I will give you many reasons to. I never had the pen was crazy. Okay.
Your pen game was good.
My pen game was out of this world, right? So, and I carried that Sith Lord title for a long time. Also, I had no problem force choking somebody. Hey, look, how about this, right? Right? I can bring the fire, but they don't want no smoke. I ain't Darth Vader, but I'll force you to choke.
Bars. Your ass ignorant. You ignorant. But it's like this, man. I remember one guy, his horses got out off my Rainbow Drive in Columbia, where it meets, and the horses got out, and they got out before we get there. They got them back in or whatever like that. So the horse got out one more time, get out again. About 5 o'clock in the morning. First time was like 11 o'clock. Second time I got out was about 5 o'clock. So I went over to him. I had 20 citations. Right? There's only three horses. There's like, why I got so many? Well, these occurred on yesterday. These occurred today. I said, you violated here. Well, we carry the one and we do a little multiplication here. That's non-violating. They're like, huh? I said, because you're a repeat offender, that's going to enhance penalties. And here's another one, just because, right? So I gave him 20. He looked at me. He's like, this is unnecessary. I said, no, your horse is getting out, running on Columbus. I have a video of me walking his horse's back. Okay, and my boy, he ain't a cop no more. He was like that. He had Still Dre Day playing. Oh, we at. I'm gonna keep talking. All right, come on, Marcus, call me back. I'm gonna keep talking. He just blipped out for a second. We're gonna call it the blip. All right, I'm gonna keep talking. And I was on there with Marcus Kellum, and I don't know if he has. I'm gonna try to call him real quick and see if I get him back. All right. We staying. We ain't going nowhere. And I'm hoping there's some type of easy fix. And I got no call yet. Come on, Marcus. Come on. Shimon. All right, we're going to go ahead and close that down. I'm going to let him call me back. So that was Marcus Kellum. Hopefully we can get him back to close up the show. If you want to reach Marcus, any type of compliance issues, any type of property maintenance or housing inspections, any type of things like that on code enforcement, as far as online training or in-person training, you can always reach him at metric1online@gmail.com. That's metric1online@gmail.com. I really thank him for coming on. He's a homie. He's a homie home. Yeah, I see how we had the relationship going back and forth. I met Marcus like 10 years ago, something like that. And we've been working together, me crossing over to code enforcement and him coming over to animal control, doing a few things. And we just a great time together, just a great time. And he's not coming back. So, guys, I'm going to end this segment. Episode is going to be number 16, okay? I'm going to try to clean up anything. If I said anything a little crazy, I don't know. I did. But we had a great time. I appreciate you guys listening in. So, hold on one second. Let me see. Hold on. What's up, bro?
Sorry, buddy.
You all right?
My phone just crashed.
No. Hey, we still on the air. And
I'm back.
I'm
here. I'm with you, buddy. Sorry about that.
No. I got you. I got you right here. I'm put you close to what you call it. All right, cool. Hold on. Let me take myself off of this thing here.
Yes. I have to go. I have to go speakerphone. I apologize.
It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. But I was just telling everybody with your website and stuff like that. In closing, are you a dog or cat person, and why?
Always been a dog person. I owned a cat for about 7 years, but from day one, always had a dog. Unfortunately, just lost my dog of 10 years last year.
Right.
She was a black lab named Notre, and it was my friend. I miss her dearly. I'm a dog person because I just think that they are incredible animals, and I love them. I'm working my way back to getting another dog, but can't replace her right now because she can't be replaced. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I got you all day.
But yeah, I had a cat. I love cats. I like their mentality. No one in my house loves cats, so I won't be getting a cat anytime soon. But dog, most definitely.
It was Mason, maybe like seven years ago. He passed away, and I get no more dogs after that. And then I got 2 cats. I got Setmek and Khonshu. One is named after the Panther God Setmet, and the other one is named after Khonshu, the Moon Knight, which I named it before they did the Marvel Moon Knight. So I ain't trying to hear that. So so I have 2 Egyptian named cats. One's a regular domestic short hair, tabby tan, and the other one's Angora, medium hair, long hair, black and white. And life's good. Life's good with them. They drive me a little crazy. So in the background, might be on the podcast, you might hear some running around. These monkeys chase each other, try to kill each other half the time.
It's interesting. I didn't take you to be I knew you had cats, but I never really knew that you. I never took you to be a cat person.
No. I'm actually a dog person, bro. I'm a dog person.
Oh,
But the thing is, dogs, lot of responsibility, man. And I travel a lot. With cats, they can kind of like survive on their own for a very long time. But
absolutely. That is 100% true. I agree with
with dogs, be like, yeah, I need you to walk me, you need to do this and that. Cats be like, I'm good.
you. Yep, they're like, that's cool. Just leave it right there. I'm good.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Just if I can, if I
Yeah.
may, I'd like to just. We were talking about, you know, placement and being first, being last, and that kind of stuff. and I had a visual. We were talking about it that I wanted to share with you, right? So I was watching during COVID. Uh, there was a DJ named Cassidy that did these
Yep.
these Zoom concerts, like, right? He was able to bring a bunch of people together, and they would sing their songs,
Right.
And he did it based on genres of music. Well, anyway, during one of them, Cisco was one of the guys that was singing his song, and I remember when Drew Hill first came out. As soon as I saw that first video, "Tell Me What You Want," I knew Cisco was a star,
Right.
right? Just just the opening of it and just looking at him and just seeing how he moved, So it's not hard to see somebody special, right?
True.
And of course Cisco went on to do his own thing, individually and everything. But during one of Cassidy's podcasts or the Zoom calls, Cisco was singing Thong Song, doing his thing.
Right.
And on a Zoom call, he did a one-hand flip, flip on a Zoom call, and stayed in frame, right?
No way.
And I just thought to myself, how incredible are you to do a one-hand flip on a Zoom call while singing your song?
Was staying in frame. Staying in frame, you know what I mean?
Yeah, staying in the frame. So and he wasn't trying to show anybody out. He was just doing him. So that's always been my approach. I'm not trying to be better than anybody. I'm not trying to show anybody else out. But if I decide to do a one-hand flip and stay in frame and sing my song, everybody on the Zoom call is going to have to get over it.
True that. As you drop the mic and walk away.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Seriously. I'm not trying to, whoever was coming up next, it didn't matter. It was just that Cisco said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this one-hand flip and stay in frame and still sing Thong Song.
I tell you, man, bruh, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And, folks will trip on us. We got to do this again, first of all. We got to do this again. I appreciate you carving out some time, stuff like that.
Definitely.
Because we talk. We have our times we talk and stuff like that. And we used to have our power meetings when I was down in Atlanta and stuff like that. That was fun. That was fun, man. That was fun. And we argue who's gonna pick up the check. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right. So I'm gonna wind it down. Any plugs you got coming up? Because I'm gonna try to get this out in about.
Absolutely. So
what you got?
Thursday. On August 26th, I am teaching a class called Legal, Ethical, and Moral Code Enforcement. You can register at my website. My website is metriconline.org, or you can go to ethicsandmorals.eventbrite.com. Register for the class. But I would ask everybody listening to the podcast, just visit my site. Metric, METRIC, online, ONLINE.org. It's a list of all the classes that I teach. There's some free material on there. There's some really good stuff. All I could say is, man, I love working with people. I love talking shop. I am a trainer, a consultant, but most of all, I'm a code guy, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I love it. So if I can help you or your municipality, your jurisdiction, your county, I'd love to do it individually or your professional organization. I am available to do that. I appreciate you, brother. I salute you for everything that you're doing. I love this format. Congratulations on the podcast. Congratulations on everything that's happening with Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene. I am a big fan, always a supporter, and I love you as a brother, man.
Always. All right, my brother. I appreciate you. Like I said, you know, it's been a joy. It's been a joy to have you on. It's we kick back, stuff like that. People know about our Marvel stuff, know about our food habits now. You know what I'm saying? And we need to put this on a rotation, and maybe have I'm trying to do maybe Kellum Thursdays, Kellum Fridays. I don't know, something, right?
Oh, I love the way that sounds.
Where we just dive in and catch up and talk and just post it because it's two real brothers being real. You know what I mean?
And of course, I would love for this podcast to have the greatest response and have hundreds of thousands of hits. So I'm looking forward to that. No, honestly, man. Listen, thank you so much for this opportunity, Hurst, man. I appreciate it. Be safe. Be safe to everybody listening to the podcast. And listen, man, anytime, let's make it happen.
All right, my brother. I'll holler back at you later offline. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't F the crime scene. It was episode 16 with Marcus Kellum, Mr. Code Enforcement Guru Extraordinaire. Holler back at you guys later, and we are out. And that's a wrap. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. It was a pleasure. I always have fun talking my stories and all that good stuff. So again, tune in to DFUTCS.com. Don't F up the crime scene. Holler back at you guys later.